Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Stephen, and on behalf of myself and the entire Search Marketing Institute team, I would like to welcome you to our webinar this evening. So we have more people registered than I have seats available. So hopefully, if you're here, you can stay. If you managed to log in, probably shouldn't log out. You might not be able to get back in. So before we get started, let's go ahead and do a little bit of housekeeping here. If someone could give me a 1 to let me know that they can see me and hear me, that would be awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. Lots of 1s coming in. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. I know that there's a lot of people here that have worked with me before. That's actually the purpose of this webinar, is to let me have to be able to get some people. Sorry, let me just do one thing real quick. To allow me to have some of my former students to be able to join my current training. So that if you're on this webinar, then you probably are either my student now or you were at one point. So glad that you're here. While we're waiting for everybody to get on board, I'm going to just take just a couple of minutes. Again, we have close to 1,000 people registered. So I want to give everybody a chance to log in and join in the fun here. So if you would please, first thing, if you haven't done so, what we're going to do is we are actually going to be, let's share my screen here real quick. We are actually going to be talking this evening in a Facebook group. So this is the group right here. Let me stop my video real quick. All right, so this is the group right here. Very easy to find. Search Marketing Institute Before Party. If you just search Facebook for that, I'm sure that it comes up. If not, you can go to facebook.com/groups/SMI.
Stephen, it's a private group.
Oh, okay. Well, can you make it a private real fast?
Yeah, let me jump in and do that.
Thanks. All right. So that's what thanks for that. By the way, that's my partner and good friend, Max. He's going to be co-piloting with me this evening. He also happens to be our YouTube coach. So he's going to hopefully make us have a kind of a seamless experience here tonight. But again, that being said, so if you would please go ahead and join that. I do love interaction on webinars. This is definitely not like I'm a professor and I'm going to stand in front of the group and just talk at you. I hate those. So I will be asking you some questions this evening and things like that. I will be doing my best to respect your time. This is not going to be a 3-hour webinar where I tell you how cool I am and anything like that, right? You probably are here because you either saw one of my Facebook posts or you got one of my emails where I talked about some very specific things, specifically Google Maps, right? So that's probably why you're here. You're probably here to get some things to help you with that. So you see this cool post here. This is kind of hard to miss, right? The number 98. So again, if y'all could please come in here and real quick, again, just give me 3 or 4 minutes to get everybody on board, if you would. So if you would please come here to this post and just tell me why you're here. Just, a few words, few sentences, just tell me why you're here. My assumption is that most of you are either consultants and you do maps for clients, or you have a business. So it's important for your business to be, have lots of visibility on maps, or maybe you are someone who is thinking about getting into this, line of work. So if you could here, just please, on this post, just say, just basically tell me why you're here. So again, we are not going to be interacting within Zoom. We might be, maybe, if you have something maybe that you don't want everyone to see, like if you have a question or, something, then go ahead and feel free to do that. But otherwise, all of the interactions is going to take place right here in this Facebook group. That's why I created it. Also, I'm not sure if it was set up or not. It should be, but if not, it'll be pretty soon, I'm sure. I have a free training area that anybody is welcome to join that has a pretty decent amount of content in it. Again, that's open to anybody that would like to do that. And it's at local SEO, it's Google in general. Lots of good stuff in there. So that training is not something that I, put together specifically like for a webinar or whatever. It's training that's specifically, in my members area that my students are using right now. So, all right. I see people are joining. Let me reload. Can someone give me a 1 or a 2 to let me know that you can see what I'm sharing? That would be awesome. Perfect. That's awesome. Max, if you get a chance, if you drop the link to the Facebook group, I guess, into the chat, that might be helpful too. Appreciate that. Thanks, everyone. All right. Everybody rolling in. Good stuff. All right. So if you're joining us late, we just started right on time about 6 minutes ago. It's actually 9 p.m. where I'm at. I am in Spain. I believe most of you are in the United States, but I know some of you are not. So welcome wherever you are from. All right. So I do see some of the, some things coming in, comments coming in. Good. Awesome. Very good. All right. Well, we know from past experience that whenever we do stuff in Facebook groups, it's going to take a minute. So going to take a minute. All right. Good stuff. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and, actually, you know what, Max, if you just want to set that to auto approve for the group, that's fine. And let everybody just come on in.
Okay, that'll work.
Yeah, let's do that. Yep.
I'm dropping the link one more time for everybody to join.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So if you are live, again, please go to this Facebook group so we can interact and we can, get to know each other. So this isn't a boring, I just talk at you kind of a thing. If you're watching this on the replay, please feel free to do the same thing. Please feel free to join and interact. All right. We'd love to have you as well. All right. So let me go ahead and switch over to my beautiful PowerPoint here. Max, can you see my beautiful PowerPoint slide?
That is rather beautiful.
Awesome. My wife commented that I really like this orange color. I use it in lots of my stuff. I'm like, yeah, I do actually like it. All right. So let's see, 7 minutes in. I think that's enough time. So I'm just going to start rolling. So again, on behalf of myself and the entire Search Marketing Institute team, I'd like to welcome you to our webinar this evening. We're going to be talking about Google Maps primarily tonight. So before I roll in here real quick, I wanted to say, who is this webinar for, right? Who is this webinar for? Well, this webinar is for anybody that cares about being in Google Maps, basically. The only people that's probably not for is people who are, selling maps training and things like that, right? You can do your own research. And you probably shouldn't need to be on a webinar like this if you sell training on this kind of stuff. So, but if you're here and that's what you do, it's all good. All right. So here's what we're going to do this evening. So again, we're going to have a short introduction. We're going to talk about the questions that I mentioned in the email and in the Facebook group. I am going to talk about our training community briefly, and then we're going to do questions and answers. All right. So we're going to jump right in. 8 minutes. Yeah, I think we're good. All right. So short introduction again. I believe most of you know me. Those of you who don't, again, this isn't about me. You can go to stephenbfloyd.com. It's got my full, well, not my full resume, but it's got a lot on there if you're interested. But I do think it's important to know a little bit about the people who you're learning from. So I have, as you can see here, I have over 18 years experience in SEO. I actually started SEO out of necessity. I was a computer repair technician, and I became a partner in a company, kind of like Geek Squad. Anybody in the US probably knows Geek Squad. And so we would send computer techs to people's houses and businesses. Well, my partner was kind of the business guy and I was kind of the tech guy, right? I used to work for Microsoft, among other things. And he brought me on as a partner. He asked me if I'd like to join the company and, be an equity partner, all that kind of stuff. But all of our leads, come from Google, right? At the time, this was back in 2003. All of our leads came from Google. So I had to learn how to do SEO real fast because, Ads weren't a big thing back then. Google ads were not a big thing back then. It was very much still like kind of old school marketing and things like that. So over the course of about 3 to 6 months, I basically bought every course that I could find, joined every group I could find, every forum, and just kind of, trial and error stuff, right? Spent a lot of money and a lot of time. But I was lucky. I eventually was able to put together a formula that worked. So I was able to rank our website #1 for computer repair globally. So that means all versions of Google. And that company was sold a little less than 2 years later. We sold it for a very nice 7-figure parachute because of the rankings. So, the system was fully automated. People would find us on Google. They put in a ticket. The ticket would go out to subcontractors we used. It was very automated. There was only 2 employees of the company. And again, it was generating close to 8 figures when we sold it a year. So I'm sorry, it was generating a nice 7 figures, excuse me, when we sold it. So I was lazy for a minute after that, I'll be honest with you. But then I started thinking what I want to do next. I had a skill that I knew worked. So I jumped right in. So, again, fast forward now, 18 years. I did SEO for customers. I'm client SEO primarily. So primarily what I do is I get paid by local contractors like plumbers and dentists and people like that to get them #1 on Google and Maps and organic or whatever vertical is available. And then in about 2000, so that was 2005, I guess, when we sold the company, 2006, somewhere around there. So then in 2000, I want to say 12 maybe or 10, can't remember when, somewhere around there, a lot of things started changing with Google. Google kind of went to war, and they really started dropping the hammer with algorithm updates and going after things like private blog networks and things like that. And so I was doing really well. I was very lucky. I did very well, and the strategies and tactics I was using were solid and sound, and I would weather the storm. That being said, I was joining groups, like I always had done, right, to keep my knowledge up to date. And I noticed something that really, really bothered me. And the thing that bothered me is that I was surrounded in groups by people who were paying, usually thousands of dollars for training on how to do what we were doing. And they were failing. And they were failing over and over and over again. And, they weren't failing because they weren't doing the work. They were failing because the training just wasn't good. The people that were selling the training were, really guru people. They weren't even really SEOs. So I decided to go ahead and start doing training on my own and teaching people what I actually do and what I actually know works from my, real world experience. So I have been teaching SEO now for, I don't know, probably a decade-ish, something like that. So I think that's probably enough about me. So again, if you want to, voir dire me anymore, feel free to online. Google my name with SEO or whatever. I've spoken on all the largest stages in our industry. I've been featured in all the largest, publications, all that kind of stuff. So that's who I am. All right. So the next thing we're going to do, let me look at the time. All right, we're good. Almost 15 minutes in. All right. So this was one of the things I believe that was from the email. So the single most important optimization for maps. Skip this, kiss the snack pack, goodbye. Okay, so, there's lots of things that, I've seen other people's answer to this. I've definitely seen it in, top 5, top 3s, that kind of stuff. And it all kind of has the same information typically. I don't really see a lot of originality or anything like that. One last thing, I'm sorry, one last thing I want to point out before I move forward is just the last line here. I am not just somebody who, I don't know, regurgitates other people's stuff. Okay. I am an innovator. I am responsible for a number of techniques that if you're doing SEO, you probably are using my techniques. You probably learned them from someone other than me, possibly. But I have created several things that are industry standard. Probably most of you here, well, give me a 1. If you use or have heard of a social fortress, is the most popular term, in Facebook, on our post, just give me a 1 if you've heard that term. And I probably am not going to click over, but Max, are we getting any ones?
There's a lot of ones.
Yeah, I mean it's so common. Yeah, I mean I've
A
seen
lot of
it.
ones.
Yeah, I mean every service, like every place that you buy SEO gigs online, legit, Fiverr, Social Clerks, PB and Butler, any of those places, Loganics, any of those places, um, um, they all sell that, right? Marketer Center, they all sell it. They may call it something different, but they all sell it. There's a very popular service that basically someone that took my technique and turned it into a service. It's a very, very popular service. Um, so, again, I'm not going to just go on and on, but I just wanted to point that out. All right. Because there's a lot of people in my industry, frankly, who, don't do anything but read other people's content and then claim it as their own, but that doesn't work. And we'll talk about that down the road a little bit. But let's jump in. So the most important thing, okay, this is, and I'm saying this coming from the perspective of someone who has helped, again, literally tens of thousands of students, right? And not just in general SEO, but specifically with maps, specifically with helping them, figure out why what they're trying to do isn't working. Okay. And the one thing that I have seen overall, okay, is that they're not doing the basics / they're not looking at what the winners are doing. Okay. That I can't tell you how many times I've had a student come to me and say, "Hey, I've done everything. I have 3 different levels of optimization. I have a level 1, level 2, and a level 3. Level 1, think of a checklist of do this, do this, do this. Level 1 is going to be able to get you in the snack pack consistently for 85%, of the markets out there, the competitiveness out there, right? 85% of the time, if you do just a level 1, you're going to get the snack pack. Sorry, I'm fumbling on my words a little bit. However, there are the level 2 and level 3. Those are going to be in competitive niches where you need to apply additional techniques. Or if you're trying to make things go faster, okay? But the vast majority is going to be fulfilled completely with the level 1. And level 1, again, there's no, secret really to it other than being thorough. While I say there's no secret, there's definitely techniques and strategies, that I do that are not necessarily what you may do or what you may have learned, right? So as an example, I'm going to show you something that came up on one of my Q&A webinars. So in my community, once a week, I do a Q&A webinar where my students can ask me questions, about whatever they want. And one of them that came up was right here. So it was this SERP, Kitchen Remodeling Temecula. So this is a city in California. Obviously, kitchen remodeling would be the niche. And so what we did on the webinar is really, similar to what I'm going to do right now, but this is the thing that most people skip, or this is the thing that they maybe they don't skip it, but they don't do it thoroughly. So before I ever take on a client, I do the research, right? I put in the work, right? I need to know what I'm dealing with, right? Because that's going to help me with my proposal. That's going to help me with my timeline. I can, if you hire me, I do have clients, by the way. I actually do this for a living. I don't just teach it. The first thing I'm going to do before I ever let you hire me is I'm going to figure out, how long it's going to take, and is it going to be worth it, right? Is the juice worth the squeeze, right? Because if not, then I may offer you a one-off service instead of a recurring service. I may refer you to someone, there's lots of different things, but either way, being able to very quickly, evaluate, a maps pack basically is going to be something that's going to serve you very well. And this is something that I see that gets skipped, or even worse, I see lots of tools that have been created that supposedly tell you, the answers to this stuff. I haven't seen a good one. I'm not going to name any names because I don't want anybody to get, mad at me. But I don't know of a tool that can evaluate, a map pack and tell me the information that I need. If there was one, it'd be great, but there isn't one. So there are tools that will give you individual pieces, but how you put those together, right? So for example, this particular student of mine, one of the things that we looked at was the category. And category is something that is often overlooked. I have a video about this in my members area. I think it's 30 minutes long, maybe it's longer, just talking about category because it's extremely important. If you choose the wrong category, it can make it where you can't rank at all. If you choose too many categories, it can make it where it's harder to rank for the primary category. Or if you don't choose enough categories or category and subcategories, then you can miss out on traffic that you should have, right? So it's not a one size fits all answer. You really need to be able to evaluate it. And so this particular one, for example, the first thing that we noticed was that my student's customer, their GMB didn't have the primary category that the people that were winning had, right? So the people that are winning, these are the people that are, the top three for sure, right? That's what we call the snack pack or the 3-pack. So, again, if you look at this, I'm going to look at this and I see, okay, kitchen remodeler, okay, kitchen remodeler, okay, kitchen remodeler, okay, kitchen remodeler, kitchen remodeler, right? Okay. Now you may also notice, so what this tells me, again, I'm going to look at the top 10 really is what I'm looking at typically, but the top 3 are most important. So if the top 3 only had one category, for example, that would be very telling for me. Okay. That means that I probably would, shoot for one category also, or I would need to set an expectation with my client. Right. So for example, this one here, has quite a few subcategories. This one also has quite a few subcategories. This one has less, but as we go through, you see here that, pretty much everyone that's winning has kitchen remodeler or kitchen remodeler, as the primary category. All right. But you also see that you have, some extras in here, right? So what this tells me is that if I want to rank for kitchen remodeling Temecula, I need to have my primary category set as kitchen remodeler, but I also can take advantage of some of these other ones. Now, by the way, if you're wondering what this is simply a plugin for Google Chrome called GMB Everywhere. You can get it on the Chrome store. I'm not going to go for that, or I'm not going to go into that. But it's just a little thing, and you get so many searches for free, and then if you want more, you have to pay or something like that. But this just makes it easy to eyeball, so that's why I use this. Now you can get this information without having this plugin, right? There's other tools, there's ways to see it manually, but this, I can tell you that probably almost 100% of the time that someone has come to me and said they're having a problem, they have overlooked something very, very basic with the competition, right? And for this particular student, his primary category was not kitchen remodeler, and he changed it to kitchen remodeler, and I believe he moved up 3 pages in one day in the maps. So it's a little thing, right? But one thing that I found personally, and you may have different experience, but one thing I found personally is that the more expert you get at something, or the more knowledge you get in a particular topic, the easier it can be to skip the basics, right? Or to overlook the basics. I guess you're just, wanting to use the big brain of yours to find like the advanced stuff, right? But most of the time when there's a problem, it's something like this. It's something very basic. If you were to, go and Google how to get in Google Maps and download, 10 different, training programs, or go to 10 different courses, I'm pretty sure all of them are going to mention category, right? Or most of them are going to mention category. This isn't like a secret, right? But what is not really a secret, but what is unique about, being in a community like ours is, that you can not only benefit from videos, right, that teach you kind of how we do things, but you can also benefit from a community of people who can give you their perspective and advice on things. But most importantly, you have the advantage of having direct access to a coach that knows what they're doing. I think of this a lot. I think about, how many people here have seen Karate Kid? If you've seen Karate Kid, just say heck yeah or something in the Facebook group. You know, if you've seen Karate Kid, like most of you probably have. It's one of my favorite movies. I love that thing. I want to say I was in high school when it came out. That's how old I am. But there's a part in there where the main character has had basically got his butt kicked by some people. So he decides he wants to brush up on his karate skills. And the person that ends up becoming his instructor comes in and he notices him, practicing from a book, right? And he makes a comment. He says something like, you doing karate? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, learn from a book. And he's like, yeah. And a few months at the Y, or something like that was his answer. But if you know the movie, um, you know, um, how far would Daniel-san have gotten with that book? I think it would have had a different ending. I think Daniel-san would have just kept getting his butt kicked. But what made the difference was having a mentor slash coach. That's what made the difference. And that's what the most important thing is, when you're part of a community, is having other eyes, peers that can help you, but also, again, having, an expert, right? Like when I take my car in to get fixed, I know some things about car repair and I can Google things, right? I can watch YouTube videos, but I can't replace, my mechanic, right? He's forgotten more about auto repair than I'll ever know, right? And I need my car to run. So when it breaks down, I take it to him, and within 5 or 10 minutes, typically, he already knows what's wrong, exactly how to fix it, right? All right. So that is basically the answer to number one. The answer to number one, again, really is doing the work of, competition analysis, I like to call it the page one method. And that's for local and for maps, because, Google always, I like to use the analogy of a card game, right? When you're in a card game, everybody keeps their cards, secret, right? And it would be a huge advantage, right, if you could see the other player's cards. Well, Google has to show you their cards, right? They have no choice but to. And that's one of the most powerful things to remember and to understand, right? Is that they can't hide who's winning from you. So if you know what to look for, right, and what not, if you know what matters and what doesn't matter, then you have a huge advantage. One problem with that, though, is like doing it yourself, is that, Google changes things every minute. I'm exaggerating slightly, right? Google literally changes, things on a daily basis. So keeping track of it is, a full-time job. And that's my job, right? I keep track of that stuff. So, all right, let me go back to my handy dandy thing. All right. All right. So let's do a check-in here really, really quickly. So again, in the Facebook group, if you would, where are we on that? Was that valuable? Was it useful? Let me see. I might not be able to see things in real time, but let me give it wax on, wax off. Yeah, that's awesome. All right. As many of you as are on here, please, do some, join the conversation, right? Don't just be a lurker. Don't just be a lurker. All right. Awesome. 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 All right. So let's jump in to the next. By the way, those of you who have not been with me on a webinar, I don't like to waste people's time. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time, on fluff and things. I like to just get to the meat and move on. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So another thing that I mentioned that I was going to talk about was one reason why you might not be able to get into the 3-pack. So let me ask you this. And again, we're going to be in the Facebook group. All right. Oh yeah, so many more comments and just see it here. Okay. How many of you, and if you don't feel comfortable doing this, then it's fine. But how many of you have had trouble with the map pack, right? How many of you have had an experience where, you feel like you have, thrown the kitchen sink at it and you just couldn't get it to move? A new version. Yeah, we're going to remind me later. Thank you. Or just give me a one. Just give me a one here in this group if you've ever had that happen, ever. If you've ever had a map pack that you just, basically were just itching your head at and you just couldn't get it to move. So I think that's a super common experience. Again, having taught thousands of people, I would say probably just about everyone here, or everyone here, if you actually do it. Yeah. All right. And don't be shy, please. Don't be shy. And again, remember, if you're watching this on the replay, please come and join this group and please participate. I'm not going to ignore you. Okay. If you've got questions, like when we get to the QA section later, feel free to drop them in. All right. I'll try to get them answered, within a pretty quick amount of time. All right. So, to answer this question, this is something where, again, having direct access to a coach is going to be, the difference between succeeding and failing. It's because there's so many things about Google. There's so many specifics, conditions and things. It would be impossible to have a video for everything. I mean, it just would. It'd be impossible to have a video, for everything. So I'm going to show you, one of the most common things that can happen. So for this, I went in and I typed in, again, this is a direct question that came up on one of our live webinars. I'm showing you here. So this was the niche that we were in. So Frisco is a suburb of Dallas in the United States and Texas. And so the issue, so again, there's probably dozens of examples of what I'm about to show you, okay? I mean, dozens of different types of things, but the specific one I want to show you tonight is one that actually is very, very common, okay? Very, very common. So if you have been, bashing your head up against the wall, butting your head up against the wall, trying to figure out how to get into the snack pack, and you just couldn't do it, this is one of the couple of dozen reasons why. There's probably more than a couple of dozens, but off the top of my head, that's what popped up. You just, made me make a list right now. All right. So one of the things that Google does sometimes, and this actually, so this has to do with a change, a huge shift in Google. All right. So if you go back to when Google first came out and when they first launched Maps, okay, the reason why Maps came out in the first place was so people could easily get directions to, local businesses so they could get to them, right? Google Maps was so, you need a hairdresser, right? You want to go to a nice restaurant, whatever, you type in what you're looking for, and then Google doesn't just give you the result, right? Like in the regular organic results, but it pulls it up in Maps and it's got those easy driving directions right there, right? You see this driving, this directions button. All right. So that's why Maps, kind of, started in the first place, right? And so you can easily find businesses, brick and mortar businesses. And that's still the primary focus of Google and Maps. Now, I know a lot of you here probably represent people who are service area businesses, meaning that, people don't come to their business, right? But originally, this is what it was for. And this is still, it's really still who it's for. So way back when, before everybody had a phone or a device with GPS on it, then the ranking factor that Google used, or one of the main three that it uses for local, that it still uses, is distance, right? It's proximity. So how far are you when you're searching from the business, right? It makes sense. If I'm, sitting in a particular street, and let's say I look for, I'm looking for a barber, right? And there's a barber across the street. Why would Google show me a barber that's, 5 miles away, right? It just makes sense that proximity would be important, right, for maps. And so because everyone didn't have a GPS device and Google was a lot less sophisticated, what Google used for proximity was called the centroid of the city. All right. So basically what it did was it would see the relation of the business from what it considered the center of the city. Okay. And the center of the city is typically the main post office in the city, or like the government center, right? Like, city hall, town hall, right? Sometimes it's like a library. There's a couple of things that it used, but basically, Google said that this is what we're calling, the heart of the city, right? And then your results would be based on how your business, how far was your business from the centroid, right? So, if you had a business that was far away from the centroid, then it was hard or nearly impossible to rank, right? Well, fast forward, and of course now everybody has GPS on their phones. So, Google is slowly and surely moving away from this, okay? But there are still remnants of that around, okay? It still exists, and actually this is fairly common, okay? So this is how you check for this, all right? This is how you look for this. So let's say that, I've done a level 1 optimization and it's not moving the needle. Okay. I'm not in the snack pack, maybe I'm not even in the top 10. Okay. When things like that happen, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to verify that my level 1 was actually completed. Then after that, I'm going to start looking for these kind of outlier issues, right? So this particular outlier issue, I call it a cluster. Other people call it different things. I didn't create this method or this, issue, right? But I know how to check for it, right? And I know I'm aware of it. And you will be too after tonight. So let's say that you were trying to get into this SERP here, Frisco Roofers, okay? And you just couldn't, you were just having, time of it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to see if this is a cluster result. All right. So I'm going to look at the top 3 primarily. So the top ranking business here is Frisco Roofing LLC. All right. So I see them right over here. All right. So there's Frisco Roofing LLC. All right. The second one is Olympic Exteriors. Okay. So there's Olympic Exteriors. You can see them. All right. So there's the first one, there's the second one. And then the third one, Elevated Roofing. Okay. They're over here. All right. So you see that, these are not all like in one little cluster, right? You see that these are fairly well spread out. All right. And if you were looking for the center of the city, it would be, let me show you. It'd be around here. All right. Let me get a little bit more. Go to, yeah. So what this tells me is that this is not a cluster issue. Okay. Because again, the top 3 are spread out. I can further confirm. So peak. So where's peak? Let me see if I can find them. They're probably over here somewhere. I think that they are. Right. But how would this be a positive result, right? How would this be, a cluster result, right? If the top 3, or especially if the top 5 or top 6 are all right here, okay, or all anywhere, it doesn't matter where they are, right? But if they're all in one place, okay, if that happens for you, so again, let's say that, the top 10, all the people in the top 10 in maps were right here, okay? Let's say they were all right here within this, little, half mile, 2 mile square area, right? And your business wasn't, okay? Then if you need to rank for this SERP, you need to get an office here. That's pretty much it. There's pretty much no other answer for it. So it doesn't matter how many citations you do, doesn't matter how many backlinks, it doesn't matter, nothing, basically. It doesn't matter what you jack with, right? If you find this result, and there's tons of these, there's just tons of these, then, you can get an office space, or, I'm not going to go into, how to get a second location, for your business. That's another topic for another webinar. But, in this case, I would advise my client probably to get an office here somewhere, right? You get an office space here that I can, verify through Google, and then Google would think this is where I'm at, and then I can go ahead and rank. All right. So this is, again, this is one of the more common ones I've seen. I'll show you one more, or I guess I won't show you, but I'll talk with you about it. I actually covered this in the training. I give you an example of this next thing I'm about to show you. But one thing that's also fairly common is if you have the same niche at the same location. Okay. So that's going to be basically niche filtering, right? So in other words, let's say that, you had well, I'll tell you when it came up for mine. It's funny. It actually was a roofing company in the real world. They had rented office space, and then there was 2 other roofing companies that had rented office space in the same building, right? So there was 3 roofing companies, right? All at the same address, but they just had different suite numbers, right? Again, especially in small towns, that's pretty common, right? A lot of roofers, don't have, an actual brick and mortar business. A lot of them operate, kind of remotely. So in that case, what Google does a lot of times is it only shows one. Okay. It only shows one. So if you had the 3 roofing companies, all in the same, it doesn't have to literally be in the same building, but that's the most common thing that happens. And think about big cities, think about like downtown New York and, places like that. You could easily have, a couple hundred businesses in a single office building, right? That is something else that, in that case, you could win if you're not the one. So again, let's say there's 3 roofers in one building. If you're not showing up and the other one is, then you can take that position. So it's not a lost cause. You just have to, you're going to have to basically go back to step 1, like we talked about, and you're going to have to, do everything that they're doing, but you're going to have to do it a little bit better. But again, the reason why I'm sharing these with you is there's just so many things like this. There's so many, I guess, exceptions, or so many, there's so many unique SERPs also, right? A SERP is a search engine result page, right? Basically, it's the page that comes up after you go to Google and you type in something and hit search, right? There are so many unique things. For example, restaurants, okay? Restaurants, ranking restaurants and getting traffic, on maps through restaurants is different than for like a lot of local contractor niches. Real estate maps are different than a lot of contractor niches, right? So what I see a lot is a lot of people try to do a one size fits all. And, you can't make, I guess you could, but the training would be, millions of videos long. You can't make a video for every possible, outcome. But what you can do is you can have a coach that knows these, right? A second set of eyes. All right, so let's go back. Let's go back here. All right, so I think we're rolling right along here. Yep, 42 minutes in. All right, so the last thing here. So I didn't intentionally not answer this in the first 10 minutes, my bad. I was going to do this first, and then I just decided to rearrange it because it made more sense. Okay. But, why are you not able to rank in the map pack at will? Okay. Why are you not able to rank in the map pack at will? So this is the most important thing on this webinar tonight. I briefly mentioned it earlier. Okay. But to be blunt, you're listening to the wrong advice or you're getting the wrong training is the most likely answer. I know that may make somebody, angry or sad or I don't know what, but the truth is the truth. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen it over and over and over. But here's the most common things that I see. All right. So the first one would be listening to Google mouthpieces. Okay. So the first thing that you need to understand is that Google makes a living selling ads, right? Google generates its income by selling pay-per-click. So it has a vested interest in spreading disinformation and lies about how to actually rank in Google. Because if you can rank in Google, you don't have to buy pay-per-click, right? So, I will ask for some interaction here. So again, into it, let's just do Zoom for this. Make it easier. In the Zoom chat, give me a 1 if you understand what I just said. Give me a 1, please, if you understand what I just said. Okay. Because it's kind of the key to lots of things. Okay. So here's what you have. Here's what most of us have. Okay. This is probably the only thing I can think of in the real world where the quote legit people are the most illegit. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example. And I'm not picking on these people. Okay. They're just easy. Okay. So for example, your search engine land, right? I think this is the largest, magazine, right? So I did a search here for John Mueller, and John Mueller is currently Google's minister of propaganda. Okay. So, every once a week he goes on and he does a webinar. And the people who are the Google puppets or the Google mouthpieces, and again, these are the biggest companies. These are the largest training companies. The largest sources of SEO information and knowledge comes from this puppet crap. Okay. So for example, new key insights from Google's John Mueller, SMX, by the way, one of the largest industry events, SMX, right? John Mueller on intent. John Mueller, John Mueller, John Mueller, John Mueller, John Mueller, John Mueller. John Mueller's a liar. Okay. It's literally what he does for a living. And John, if you're watching this, sorry, nothing personal, but I'd say it to your face. So I don't mind saying it on a webinar. Okay. But probably the vast majority of people who are trying to do SEO for a living are relying on information coming from the ministers of propaganda. Okay. And I don't know any other way to be more clear. So, if you're someone, and let's say, you just graduated college with a marketing degree and you want to go out and take on the world and, get the most traffic and, stuff for your clients, maps are important. Probably what you're going to do is you're going to start by going through this BS here, learning from this propaganda, right? I mean, who hasn't heard of just create great content, right? That's the current Google, fantasy. Just create great content. Just create great content. Oh my God. If you Googled just create great content, you probably get a million results, right? Because that's the current lie. Okay. But again, just remember that Google probably spends tens of millions, maybe more a year in making sure that, or trying to make sure that you don't know what you actually need to know to be able to get Google traffic without buying it. Okay. And this is the big, the big lie in our industry. Like, I don't know where else this exists. I can't think of another example where it's this blatant. Okay. But straight up, I've seen things, and I don't pay much attention to it because it's frankly laughable. But straight up, I will see people quoting, Mueller, for example, on everywhere, Twitter, Facebook, groups everywhere, talking about, oh, well, this has been decided because John Mueller said this. Like, does this technique work? Well, John Mueller said, that backlinks, don't matter. So that must mean that backlinks don't matter because, John Mueller, why would he lie? I mean, give me a fucking break, right? Here's another one. And again, not hating on individuals involved, but here's another one. The SEM Post, okay? John Mueller, do exact match domains help or hurt Google rankings? John Mueller weighs in. Pretty sure that John Mueller says that they don't. And anybody that does SEO knows that exact match domains, if you use them properly, absolutely work. It's laughable. It's laughable for anyone to even to attempt to argue that. And other techniques that I use, it's just not just me, but again, thousands of students, are using. I'm not going to go into the laundry list, but I could literally show you dozens of things that, they tell you don't work that I can absolutely assure you they do work. And these things, they even do case studies. It cracks me up. These people do case studies where, they say, well, we changed the title tag on these three things and, rankings didn't go up. So that must not be a thing. I mean, it's the most unscientific nonsense anywhere. Okay. But that's the first thing. Right. So I told you the biggest reason why you can't rank at will, because I'll tell you, it's easy to rank maps at will. It's freaking easy if you know what to do. It's not hard. It's easier than it's ever been. Ever. If you know what to do, it's easier than it's ever freaking been. I could take someone that didn't even know what SEO stands for. And if they go through my complete Google My Business /Maps training in the members area, they can rank anything that they want at will. Now, it may take some time or it may take some budget, right? Depending on how competitive it is. I'm not saying that I can walk into, DUI lawyers, in Los Angeles and take the 3-pack, in 5 minutes with the $10 budget. That's stupid. It's ridiculous. Okay. But what I'm saying is that, if you follow the right things, that you are going to be able to win for sure. Number one, you're going to be able to do it as fast as possible while being safe, not using scammy, hacky BS tactics that work today and don't work tomorrow, or can even get you penalized, right? And also for the least budget. There's a reason why I can sit in my underwear. I'm not in underwear right now, by the way. I'm actually wearing shorts, but the reason why I can sit in my underwear and beat the crap out of agencies that own buildings, right? It's because they're listening to the wrong people, right? And I'm doing what actually works. I consistently outrank huge agencies. I mean, it's laughable. I've had people show me proposals from other companies where I'm charging them $2,000 a month, where they were charged, or they were proposals for 6, 7, $8,000 a month. It's just insane. Insane. All right. So let me go back to my, so again, Google eyes, basically. All right. So let's see another. Hold on. Oh, the second one. Okay. The Facebook gurus. Okay. So again, these are places where you may be getting information from and you might not want to get information from. Okay. So again, I'm in all these groups. I don't think there's an SEO Facebook group that I'm not in. I'm not usually in my profile because I'm there kind of undercover, right? So just because you don't see me, Stephen Floyd, in one of these groups doesn't mean I'm not in one of these groups. But I just did it. I just typed in SEO and then groups for Facebook, and this list popped up. Okay. And again, I'm not mentioning specific groups because I don't want to start wars with anybody. I don't want to, get into a pissing match. Okay. But overwhelmingly, the information that I see in these groups is wrong. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. I mean, you have people, it really cracks me up, people that like, have been in SEO for 15 minutes, and they've watched a couple of videos on YouTube and they think that they're experts, right? They think that they somehow know more than someone that's been doing this for almost 20 years, thousands and thousands and thousands of rankings. Literally, I've generated literally hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue from my customers. I am a millionaire from selling SEO, right? And being able to perform SEO. My average client retention is 3 years. The industry average is 3 months. Okay. It just cracks me up. But, like I mentioned at the beginning, this stuff here, this Facebook group stuff, and again, I'm not talking about any particular group, okay? And I'm not saying that all the information in these groups is bad or anything like that. I'm not talking about the intention of anything, okay? What I'm saying is that spending a consistent amount of time in these groups shows me that very few people know actually what they're doing. And if they do, they're not talking about it. Because when I see questions get answered, I see just as many wrong answers as I do right answers, right? And the sad part is a lot of these people are people who are struggling and don't really have money to afford courses and mentors and coaches and things. So they're trying to get by, with the free Facebook group, right? And I mean, think about that. Think about if you were a doctor, right? And you got your education from a free Facebook group. Would you want to go to that doctor? Just let me know that in Zoom. Would you want to visit a doctor, who got their education in a Facebook group? I mean, come on. Please, please, please. Some of you have some really funny answers right now, by the way. I'm not gonna share. Oh my goodness gracious. All right. So, that again, this is the heart of this. This is the heart of the matter. Okay. So here's your choices. Okay. So let's say that you are, like I said, I believe that this describes most people here. I believe most of you here are SEO consultants. I believe most of you here get paid by people, to rank in maps, to generate, revenue for their business, to generate prospects and clients and sales. Okay. So your choices are, you can listen to Google and not rank. You can listen to Facebook groups and not rank. You can do it yourself, which is how I did it when I first started. You can go out there and try to sift through the disinformation and the good information. Okay, you can watch YouTube videos. You can take free courses. You can listen to the SEO training by the tool makers. Those are some of my favorite. Again, I'm not going to name names, but everyone here will know who I'm talking about. It cracks me up when I see people who sell SEO tools or SEO services that are automatically experts somehow now, right? Like I sell a backlink tool that shows how to, gives like information about backlinks. And so now I am an expert at all things SEO. Doesn't work that way, homie. You might have a great tool, right? But just because you sell a service doesn't mean that you aren't expert at doing whatever the service is, right? Just because you sell shovels doesn't make you, know how to find gold, right? So those are your basic choices. Okay. Or you've got the last choice, which I like to call it the easy button, because I'd like to reiterate what I said a few minutes ago. If you have the right training and you have access to people who can help you in the specific situations, then ranking is easy. It's very easy. Um, it's not hard. I have so many students that are 6 and 7 figure part-time people that, I could have them come on here and tell you their story, but I'm not going to do that. Okay. But I would submit to you, that, if that's what you're trying to do, if you need to rank in the maps or local for that matter, if that's what you are doing for a living, or if you need to do it for your own business, then I'd like to invite you to our community. So I am not an expert at making PowerPoint slides. That's probably fairly obvious right now. I'm also not an expert at webinar selling. I am not, obviously not, shiny, slicked up, I know just the right NLP keywords to say to, force you to, buy. But I will tell you a couple of things about me and about, my community. Number one, I genuinely care. I genuinely care about helping people and people being successful. I didn't even start teaching until I'd already done this for well over a decade. I see coaches that come and go. Like every year, it seems like there's a new like cool kid. That's what I like to call them. Every year, there's like a new cool kid that comes out, and you see them at the conferences and stuff. And they sell a bunch of training, and they make a lot of posts. They usually position themselves as an anti-guru. They usually like to take pot shots at people like me who've been here for, again, almost 20 years. They flame out really big. They throw a lot of accusations. They try to get exposure by calling out people like me who've been here, right? And they get a little bit of traction for a little while, but eventually they go away. And I can't tell you how many of those I've seen. I mean, it's not just one a year, but I'm saying I could tell you that person right now. I'm not going to, but I could tell you the cool kid right now. I could tell you the cool kid last year. I could tell you the cool kid the year before that. Longevity. Longevity is what you want, right? You want, if you're going to learn from somebody, you want someone that's actually doing what they're teaching, and you want someone that's been around a minute, right? So I genuinely care. I actually have a vested interest in you being successful, because the most effective tool that I have for selling my training is students' success stories. And that's a fact. If you go to our sales page, I'm going to pull it up here in a minute, invite you to join our community on a special offer. You're probably going to look at the testimonies. I hope you do. I hope you read them. I hope you watch some of the videos. These are all real people. Pretty much all of them are on Facebook. If you want to ask them questions, they probably even, be happy to do that. Right. A lot of them are in the Facebook group right now. So if you want to, ask them questions instead of me, feel free to. All right. But let me shift gears really, really quickly. So I'm going to show you. So again, this is our website, searchmarketing.institute. This is our training area. As you look through here, you're going to see pretty much, what do you get, right? So I'm not going to spend time going through like all the bullet points of what you get, right? Everyone here can probably read, right? But a couple of things that I do want to highlight, and we're almost done, by the way, we're almost done. A couple of things that I do want to highlight. You do have access to a members area, okay, that has, training videos inside. It's got a lot of training inside. You should be able to see this here. So this is the back end. This is the instructor view. So when you join, hopefully you see something a little bit different. But this is, I believe, it's well over 200 hours of content in the community. But as you look here, so here's our welcome. This is the resources we use. So right away from the start, I have a sheet in here that tells you, this is the tool that we use to do this, right? Webinar replays. Again, I do a weekly webinar. The replays are always available as long as Zoom doesn't crap out on us, which I don't think has happened in well over a year. Here's an introduction to SEO. By the way, a lot of this information, well, not a lot of it, but I think a fair amount is in the free members area that you can access. Okay. So you could sign up right now if you haven't yet to our free area, which has some of this, like my local SEO philosophy. I think this is extremely important. I don't just tell you like what to do, like do this, do this, do this, but I explain to you why, because it's important that you understand the why for a lot of things, because you need to be able to explain it to a prospect, right? If a customer or a prospect asks you a question about something, you need to know about it. That's why I also have the 101 here. Okay. We have an introduction to SEO, introduction to local SEO. We talk about, again, I'm not going to go through all of these things, because literally just opening these boxes would give you information that, frankly, I don't want you to have unless you're a member. Just clicking on this thing here will open up like some of the descriptions of some of the videos are things that I don't want out in the open. I only want our students to have access to. So I'm literally not going to click these things. Okay. But you have access. You see here, keyword research. That's where it all begins. For SEO, it all begins with the keyword research. Semantic SEO, entities, if you're not familiar with that, it's very important. Core Web Vitals is kind of the hot button right now in the SEO world. As much as possible, I want you to be prepared ahead of time for things. So this is something that is, happening right now, but we've been talking about it for a while. Image, analytics, on page, off page, basically, again, pretty much everything that you need, right? Right now in my local SEO section, you have a complete blueprint, from, the customer sends you a check, right? Or wires you money, or however that works. What do I do? How do I do it? If it doesn't, let's say you're doing maps for them in a level 1 optimization, you've given it, a decent amount of time. Decent amount of time is usually about 4 to 6 weeks, meaning that what I teach you to do is you're going to do an audit. Basically, once the audit's complete, then you're going to know what items you need to do. Then you're going to do those items, or you're going to outsource it. And then you're going to give it a little bit of time to settle. It's very important. That's something that I don't see, enough emphasis being put on. Google doesn't make changes overnight necessarily, right? So, let's say that, you do your audit and you need to optimize, let's say, these 12 specific things. And let's say that you do all 12 of those things in one day. Okay. Well, if you're not ranking tomorrow, it doesn't mean that something's wrong. Okay. But, a reasonable amount of time will have passed. And like I said, for local, it's typically about 4 to 6 weeks. Okay. So you're going to do an analysis. You're going to figure out what you need to do. You're going to do those things, or you're going to outsource those things. I'm going to show you how to do that as well. By the way, our community is VA and like partner friendly. So, I'll tell you this, my goal for you, even if it's not a goal that you have, is that you don't have to do the SEO work. My goal for you is that you just do, maybe the strategy, or maybe you just do the selling or whatever. But my goal, here's the thing. It is so easy to outsource all of these things. So easy to find people, who you can pay very little money. And I don't mean that like being a jerk, but I mean, if you live in the United States and you have an employee in Bangladesh, okay. I have employees, well, they're not employees, they're contractors, excuse me. Don't want to get in trouble with the IRS. I pay my VAs, my virtual workers, virtual assistants in Bangladesh, okay, it is very little to me. It's way less than minimum wage in the US. It's significantly less, okay? But in their local economy, it's worth about $75,000 a year. Okay, as far as, buying power. So it's a win-win for everybody, right? I get the work done that I need to have done. My customer gets the result that they're paying me for, right? And then I also get to, bless someone with, in a bad job area, let's say, or a bad economy, with the job, the average person, my average VA in Bangladesh supports 5 to 7 people with the one job they have from me. So it's a win-win. But again, all that to say, that's how this course is designed. This course is designed. You need to be able to inspect what you expect, first of all. So you need to know these things, right? You don't just buy the course and give it to a VA, hopefully, Okay. Because you need to know, right? You need to know how to do it yourself so you can make sure that whoever you hire is doing it properly, right? But once you've done that, and once you've trained your people, then it's very hands off, right? The actual doing the SEO part, I promise you, is the easy part. But I say it's easy because I spend a lot of time and energy making sure that what I'm doing works and that it works for my students. I'm constantly doing R&D. I'm constantly trying out new techniques, and I have to stay calm or current is what my job is. My main job really is to make sure that if you're a student and you have a question, that I have an answer, and it's the right answer. Okay. So here is, so of course you have a members area, okay, that's got videos in it, quite a few. It's complete. Okay. You also have access to our Facebook group, okay, which is very, very, very valuable. So if I were to go over here, then we have this group here, and I'm not going to scroll through too much, but this community is extremely active. And, as coaches, we answer most of the questions most of the time, typically quickly. Okay. I don't promise you that I'm going to answer every question you have every time within 5 minutes, or whatever, but it's an extremely, extremely active group. So this is a place that you would be able to network with your peers. So everyone that's in this community is doing what you're doing, right? They're trying to be able to rank in maps or organic or both, or on YouTube or affiliate marketing. We cover several niches in the training. I'm focusing on maps today, but we cover more than just maps, of course. But to put a dollar value on this would almost be impossible, right? I can't tell you how many people have joined my other groups and have formed partnerships and things like that. They have met like-minded people and have changed their lives. It's a fact.
Hey, Stephen, can I
So
jump in here real quick?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, sorry, because I'm noticing like a massive influx of traffic to the site right now.
Oh yeah.
So for everybody that's on the search marketing, it's like the page that Steven's on. For one, the page just refreshed. I just did the updates. Don't click the little message thing, okay? Because that's just going to take you to the free, like it's extremely basic free training that we were offering earlier. Like you can join it, but it's pretty much like chapter 1 of like 20 chapters that you get when you join. So like on the little messenger thing, I'm just saying, just you can pretty much avoid that. The other thing is I updated everything. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But if you should, and I see Cheryl, it looks like you're having an issue with the pop-up. There should be a X on the top right to get out of that. And then somebody asked, is there a special offer today to join? Which I think should be addressed because, this is I think this is the last private offer that we're doing, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, this was, like I said, I'm not sure everybody that's here. I believe probably because of my Facebook post, there's people, but my intention for this webinar was that it was for people who have been my student in the past, because if you're still doing SEO, and a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people have transitioned into other careers and things. But if you have been my student in any course, and I've taught in probably a half dozen places, I'm not going to list my resume, but those of you who are here, if you've ever been my student before, or especially even if you have my training from a year ago, okay, I'm telling you guys, if you even have my training from a year ago in my traffic engine school, you need this new training. There's so much that's different. Like, I'm not saying that if you did that, it would get you in trouble or anything. But my intention with this is, I'm like, I've got a whole group of people out there, who I have worked with in the past, and I want them to be in our community. And it always makes me mad when companies, and they give a better offer to new customers than to their loyal existing customers, right? That always like baffled my mind. It's like, so I've been a loyal customer for however many years, so I get a worse deal, right, than someone that's brand new. That always didn't make sense to me. So that's what the original intention of this webinar tonight was. It was to say, hey, listen, at some point in time, you trusted me, and I'm pretty sure I delivered for you. Overwhelmingly, my reviews and all that stay that, right? Or say that. My refund rate is basically zero. My reviews are, I have thousands of positive reviews, right, from students. So, I don't want you to miss out. And I also feel like that you should get a deal, right? Again, I feel like you should get a deal, but this absolutely will be the offer that's tonight. There's nothing, the price is going to double the next time. And that's not, check me on it. If you don't believe me, the next time you see an ad for, and it'll be on my Facebook wall, my public, the price will be at least double what it is tonight. And it will be for less stuff. So, again, I know that scarcity is something that marketers use. I'm a marketer. I know that all of you here are marketers, but it's not fake. I promise you. The offer that we're making tonight, there will never be an offer that's better or as good ever again. Frankly, I know the value of having direct access to me and the other coaches. And, I'm trying to explain it to y'all in a way that doesn't come off wrong. But frankly, if you do this for a living, if this is how you put food on your table, I don't know why you wouldn't do this. Anything that's that important to me, I have a coach, I have a mentor. And I know because trying to do it the other way is just, it's insanity, especially with Google. I don't know how you would do that. And, I have the time and the energy and the resources to make sure that what I teach you and what I train you on is absolutely the best, state of the art. I don't think there's a better local SEO coach or maps coach out there. I'm not saying that to be egotistical. I'm not saying that there aren't other people who are competent and good as well. I'm saying I feel like I have the most thorough, best, easiest to understand, easiest to implement, easiest to outsource, system out there, frankly. And again, because you have been my student in the past, although I'm not asking for receipts. So if you haven't and you want to join, that's fine. Originally I was going to, have a thing where you submitted proof that you've been a student, but it's okay. If you're here and you'd like to join, we'd love to have you. But the direct access to us, I mentioned, you get the Facebook group, you get all the videos, people torrent courses like this, right? That's how a lot of these, other gurus become experts. Okay. They illegally download my training and then they go and pass it off as theirs. I could name a dozen people right now that you may know by name that have done that. And that's how they make their money, by stealing my content. Okay. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. The value of the videos is like this much. Okay. This much value, okay, is in having direct access to us, because I can help you one-on-one. A video can't answer a question, like a specific question, right? It can give you guidance, okay, but if you have a problem, if you just, you have a map listing you just can't get into, I will look at it personally and help you figure it out. I've done it dozens of times in the last month. Okay. I will literally I have a Gmail account that I use for my students where they add me to Google Search Console and Google Analytics. And it can even add me to their Google My Business dashboard temporarily, this separate account, not my primary one. Okay. So I can literally go in and diagnose what's wrong and help you one-on-one. Okay. I don't know any other coach that does that. I don't think there is one. Frankly, I do it because I enjoy it and I like helping people. I literally enjoy doing that. It's very fulfilling for me, to have a student come to me and say, hey, I just can't, I can't figure this out. Right. I've done this. I've done this. It's actually fun for me to go in and figure it out. Right. And help them do that. So when you're a part of our community, again, take the can I rank thing off the table. It's a given. It's a given. Yes, you'll rank. Okay. Period. I've never not reached a ranking I searched for ever, not even once. Beyond local SEO, I also am an expert at penalties and all kinds of stuff. Okay. I've been doing this so long that I probably can help you with just about any question that's SEO related. And by the way, in the Q&A webinars, it's not exclusive to that. I'll even help you with business if you want. I've created and sold several businesses for 7 figures. Like the one-on-one is not, just restricted, right? But again, I don't know how to say it any more strongly, right? The videos are fantastic, in my opinion. The Facebook group is fantastic. Okay. The weekly webinars are fantastic. They're all good. They're all valuable. They're all necessary. But having direct access to me or to one of my other two coaches is, I don't know, it's priceless. I mean, think about everybody who is an expert in their field, right? Everybody who's an expert in their field, they all have coaches. They all have mentors. SEO, not only does it not have any type of valid like training or certification, I mean, there isn't one. Okay. But there's no ongoing education either, right? You're basically left alone to figure out and hope that, whatever article you read or whatever group you belong to or whatever expert you're listening to knows what the hell they're talking about. And I'm telling you, I told you in the Facebook groups, at least 50% of what I see is not right answer wise, or maybe if it's not straight up not right, it's incomplete. And you would go crazy, right? I mean, I've seen people say this before, like, well, why would you buy an SEO course? You could just learn all the SEO you need on YouTube. Really? Really? Again, go back to my, doctor example, right? Would you want a doctor who learned doctoring on YouTube? Come on, man. That's playtime. That's kid stuff. This is real. I'm a grown up. This is a real business. I do this for a living. This part is really, I enjoy this part. I don't need this money from selling courses. I make money from servicing my clients and all my other revenue streams. But I enjoy doing this. Like I said, I enjoy it. It's fun. It's like a puzzle, and I love nothing more than helping a student, win, whether that means helping them get a client or, rank in maps or rank in organic or figure out another vertical. I love this stuff. So I think the only thing left is just to jump right in, right? So Max, will you drop that in the group for us? Or actually, I made a bit.ly also, if you want to do that. But either way, yeah, it's pretty long.
Yeah, it's a lot. So for anybody that's asking, if you don't see here, I'll just put that exact link in there because it seems like some old browsers haven't cached the right way yet or refreshed the right way. So there's that. We do have a couple of questions about PayPal. Are we offering that or no?
Yeah, I mean, we can, if they can't use Stripe, then yeah, we can do that. Just have them send me an email to seofloyd@gmail.com and I can figure that out. I can just send them a PayPal invoice or something. That's fine. That's not a big deal. But yeah, primarily, I do want to make it clear though, if you see on here, we do not do refunds on this. Okay. So if that stresses you out, do not buy. Okay. The minute that you buy, you're going to have access. Okay. And so, I'm sorry, but, I'm just, again, this price is crazy. If you utilize me one time, if I answer one question for you one time, it's going to be worth more than what you paid. I mean, I charge $3,000 an hour for consulting and I don't even do it very often because I don't like it, as far as like, having to pay part. So, again, I think that's, I could go over each individual point, but I don't know if that would help, to be honest. If you do local SEO or if you want to do local SEO, get on board, join. I want to help you. I don't want you to be stuck with, bad information and bad training and disappointed clients. Also, I will tell you this, right now, the local SEO section, again, it's primarily delivering, it's fulfillment for local SEO, right? However, I am going to be adding two sections. Okay. I'm going to be adding a client section where I talk about clients, right? How to close clients, how to price them, all that kind of good stuff. And there's going to be an agency section, which is going to be, fast track how to move from being a one-man show to, having a building with employees if you want. Okay. All that stuff is coming. Again, we have the YouTube section, which you're going to get on this offer as well. Initially, I wasn't going to include that. It was just going to be local SEO because that's what you bought from me before. So again, this was meant to be like a, get current, right?
Again, but I'm answering all these chat questions.
Yeah.
So there's a question here that says, can the training teach us to find customers to grow an SEO business? And just because I'm on here and just because I'm kind of proud of it, we actually have a student who's using a combination of what Steven's doing for local and for YouTube marketing, who's generating leads already for his business. So yeah, so there is training for how to, for customer acquisition and how to market your own business and gain customers.
Yeah, and there's also a ton of, and I'm not going to list all these things, okay, but there's also a ton of resources that I'm not even talking about, okay? What we're giving you is basically like, I like to call it it's like a franchise or a business in a box or something, okay? So for example, I'm giving you my discovery form, right? I'm giving it to you. You can use my exact discovery form. That's going to be the form that prospects are going to fill out, right? So they go to your website, they fill out the form that gives you the information you need to work up a proposal, right? What I teach in this course is video proposals, right? So someone goes to your website, they fill out a form, they give you information that you need, then you do your research and you come up with a proposal. I also give you the proposals, give you, forms you can use, like the actual form, right? Forms that you can use for the proposal. And then you send them, you do a video proposal, right? And then if they, want to sign up, then you either meet them in person or you send them, a virtual invoice, right? Through email. That's the method that I teach, but we're going to talk again. This isn't in the course right now, but it's being added because I realized that there was probably actually a bigger need for the client part than the actual fulfillment part. So that stuff is going to be, coming soon. But like I said, I want you to have everything that you need basically to do this as a career. Or of course, if you're doing this for yourself, we have a ton of students that do that as well. I have a ton of students who are marketing their own business, or a family member's business or something like that. So not just for consultants. Okay. It's for anybody that wants to do it. Okay. But other than what other questions do we have? I guess we're already in the QA section, which is fine.
Yeah, we're already there. Okay, so we have is this a one-time price?
Yeah.
Or you want me to just spin them off, or do you want me to just like do a Q&A thing? I'll just ask you the questions that people are popping in.
Yeah, just however. Yeah, that's fine.
I think the one-time price is a good question.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So we have two different offers today. Okay. So one is a single purchase. Okay. $9.97, right? Got to have that 9.7 ending price, right? That's a one-time, you pay it once, you never pay again. Lifetime updates for the section. Okay. For local SEO. I can tell you that that's going to go again, y'all get this now, but the next time that we launch, they're going to get either 6 months or a year, and then they're going to have to pay a monthly fee for updates after that. Okay. And which is only fair because I have to continue to spend time and money, updating the, training. Right. But again, because this is the last time we're going to do this, you're going to get that lifetime. Okay. So if you do local SEO, you are not ever going to have to pay again to get training on local SEO, like what this covers. Right. I've got you. Okay. Until I, God willing, hopefully I live a long, long time. Okay. But it's not going to be a deal where like 6 months from now I go away or whatever. Okay. I have had a couple of other brands in the past and they ended up being shorter for a whole bunch of reasons. This is not a short brand. This is my long-term brand. Honestly, my goal is to sell this somewhere down the road, maybe 10 years from now, something like that. Okay. This is my baby. So I only have two jobs right now. I fulfill SEO and I teach SEO. And I do have other revenue streams, but I'm saying this is where I'm putting my focus on. So my goal, oh, and by the way, I didn't even mention, there's so many little parts to the offer. We're going to have certification coming up soon where you're going to be able to get certified by the Search Marketing Institute. It's going to be a respected industry certification. So that's going to help you, be able to get jobs or close clients. We didn't even talk about that, right now. If you finish my local SEO training, just that one course, okay, and you pass the test at the end, you should be able to get a job starting anywhere from 40, 50, 60 grand a year. Okay. I'm not limiting you. Those jobs go up to typically they top out around 300K a year. But I'm saying if you want the stability, right, of a job, do that. We have a student that just did that. We have a student that, and he's making good money. I don't remember what it is, but he was like, you know what? He just started doing SEO. He's like, after taking your course, I feel confident enough. He actually name dropped me, which, again, I'm not some super famous person or whatever, but it was kind of funny because he actually mentioned that he just mentioning my name helped get him the job. Again, I am fairly well known, even in the quote, respectable circles, right? But I'm not going to put my name behind a certification that's not legit. And it's not going to be one of these BS ones either, right? Like you're going to have to actually pass it to get it. But once you do, you're going to be able to use that on LinkedIn. You're going to be able to display it, all kinds of places. But there's lots of upgrades and updates that are coming down the road as well for that. But so one is a single price of $9.97. The other one is a 3 payment plan, and Zoom is always in the way whenever I'm doing anything. So I know you can probably see it, but I can't. It's a 3 pay, and that's going to be $1,200. So it's going to cost you more if you want to do the 3 pay. But I understand that some people might not be able to do this at this point. I will tell you also that you can do this. You can start this career with free tools. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's in the training. Okay. But once you start to have a couple of clients, once you start to have, let's say 3+ clients, you're going to want to go to paid tools. And I have arranged a special deal with I call it the Swiss Army knife of tools out there, where you're going to get a special deal better than anyone else gets. And it basically is all the tools that you need to do this, job. So the resources also in there, just remember the resources I'm sharing with you are the ones that I use. And I have built this up over my entire career. So, for example, you need to have a good keyword research tool, okay, for a variety of reasons, okay? I use all of the major ones, okay? I use them constantly to evaluate, but there's only one that I use, like when I actually work, and it is included in this tool that I'm talking about that you're going to get a super cheap rate on, right? But all the outsourcers as well, if you need to have a website built, okay, I have a resource for you that will build you a website. They'll build it the right way, and they build it for you cheap. Okay, so you can resell that. I am going to teach you, again, we're going to talk all about pricing and all that kind of stuff too, right? We're going to teach you like how to sell packages and things like that, because that's what people want nowadays. In the old days, people just bought SEO and then they bought all the other services from other providers. But now people want like a one-stop shop. So you don't have to do all the different things, right? You can outsource or you can refer, and I'm going to give you access to those people. There's kind of a couple of different levels to this. So, level one would be you doing it yourself, right? You learn, say, citations, for example, okay? Local directories. So you need to learn how to do those because you need to, again, inspect what you expect. But after that, then, I'm okay with you giving access to your VA, right, to the training so you can make sure they do it right, right? So you shouldn't be doing citations like frequently, right? Maybe once in a while just to make sure you're staying current. But if something major changes, guess what? I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you one of my goals with this is to be proactive. I want you to know about things before they happen. And anyone who's been my student for more than a couple of years knows that I deliver on that promise over and over and over again. You don't ever get caught off guard by something. You don't ever just wake up one morning and go, man, Stephen, why didn't you tell me about blank? Doesn't happen. But what does happen frequently is I tell you, hey guys, gals, listen, 12 months from now, you're going to have a site that loads in less than 3 seconds or 2 seconds, or you're going to be in trouble. 6 months from now, if you have a site that is not mobile friendly, according to this specific tool, you're going to be in trouble. Right. So, again, the value of that is hard to say. Okay. But I will tell you this, it is very realistic. Okay. For someone who doesn't know anything about SEO to buy this course, start implementing the training, and to be making 6 figures within months. That's very realistic. So if you're not doing that now, and if you're, again, I'm not trying to bash other people, but my training works. I have more success stories than anyone that I know of. So, if you join my community and do the work, you're going to get the result. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to, get clients, when you want. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to, make the kind of money you want working. Again, I'm definitely not going to turn this into like a Lambo guru webinar or anything. But I live, I live my ideal life. Let me put it that way. Your ideal life may be different. All right. But, I'm overseas right now. I live in Spain. And I've been here for 2 months and I've been to like 8 countries. That's what I like to do. I enjoy traveling with my family. So because I do digital marketing, because I'm an SEO, I can work from wherever I want. Also, I can work when I want, and once you get to the part where you're outsourcing everything, and you can be gone from your job most of the time. You know, I'm not saying that's going to happen overnight. Okay. You got to put in the work, right? But I will tell you, we have better margins than probably any industry I've ever heard of. And, you know, if I were to challenge you and say, I want you to tell me a career that you can have that you can within 6 months can be making six figures or more, working part-time with no previous knowledge or experience. And I don't think you have an answer. We make more than lawyers and doctors. You know, I have all the things, right? I have cars that cost more than most people's houses. I have watches that cost more than most people's cars. I'm just telling you that to show you what's available, not to like brag. Okay. I'm not a billionaire or anything, right? I'm not Bill Gates. But what I'm saying is all of these things are available. And especially, you know, the last little thing here, we're doing pretty good. We've just been on a little over an hour. If you are paying for training somewhere else, okay, and you haven't gotten the result that you're looking for, then maybe consider switching to us. Okay. Because I can tell you, I could name a dozen courses right now that if you bought them and you're trying to win with them, you're not going to. You're just not, because the training's not good. It's just not. I mean, you know, again, not naming names, but there's a couple of them that cost, you know, significantly more than what we cost. And you will never get to where you want to get to if that's what you follow. Because it's, you know, it's just not realistic. It's not in the real world. It's very obvious to someone like me when I look at the training that the person teaching doesn't actually do this for a living. It's very, very obvious. So, you know, you came on here tonight for one of a couple of different reasons. Hopefully you got some value out of it. Hopefully if you're watching this on the replay, you know, hopefully you came in and joined. This offer closes tomorrow night at midnight. And again, this is no false scarcity. Okay. Tomorrow night at midnight it closes, and the most affordable this will ever be again is twice what it is here for a less offer. So in other words, if you don't buy today or you don't buy by midnight tomorrow night and you want to buy down the road, you're going to pay at least twice as much for less. The offer is going to include less. And I haven't even mentioned all kinds of stuff that's in here because frankly, I feel like if you don't see the value in the one-on-one, I don't think the other stuff is going to make a difference. And again, you know, I'm not the best, you know, I'm not going to sell a course on like how to sell in webinars or anything. Okay. What I try to do is I try to come on here and be genuine and honest. And, you know, hopefully I've provided some value for you. You know, but again, kind of last thing here, you know, if you are doing this, if you're doing SEO for other people, or if you're doing it for yourself, this is the best place to be, in my opinion. We're going to take care of you here. We're going to give you all the information that you need. We're going to give you all the tools that you need or help you get the tools that you need. And we are invested in your success. You know, again, you know, when this goes larger and I'm taking on, you know, lots of students, the reason I'll be able to do that is because of the success stories of our current students. And, you know, if you go to the page right now and look, I believe that we have 50 members right now, and we've got, you know, like 30 testimonies, something like that. Okay. It's not a question of if it's going to work. The only question is, are you going to do the work? If you do the work, you're going to get the outcome. And for those of you who don't like selling, especially don't like, you know, in person, you know, I want to reiterate again that the primary method that we're going to teach you for getting clients or closing clients is going to be a video proposal. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through that step by step. I'm going to show you exactly what to put in, exactly how to put it in, all that kind of stuff. Right. There's no reason you can't do this from anywhere in the world. As long as you have an internet connection, then you can do this. You know, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you live in a poor country or, you know, something like that, it doesn't matter. You can sell to the richest countries. It doesn't matter at all. Okay. I can't think of any boundaries, but if there's more questions, Max, I'll go ahead and do those. Otherwise, I think we're going to wrap it up.
There's a ton of questions, and I'm like
okay.
doing the over here because I got to run to the bathroom, but I knew you were going to ask, and there's like
okay.
the questions are been crazy. So people are asking how long do you, because obviously it's like a one-time payment, and I guess because of everybody else, you know, offering one-time payments and not, you know, basically not supporting them. They want to know how long long they actually get access to the like with the one-time payment? How long do we support them for?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like I said this a few.
We originally opened, like, it was a quiet soft launch. We opened in
Yeah,
March. It was March, right? And
yeah, it was March.
we've been doing weekly webinars every week since March of 2021.
Yeah,
So I mean, like, we don't plan on going anywhere. The support's there. I mean, it's basically, lifetime means lifetime for us. And this
yeah,
is the reason that we're doing this right now for everyone is after this, and I think after the affiliate launches, we're going to go to a different structure, to where it's going to be a subscription model. It's going to be like you're charged every, or either every month or every 6 months or every year.
forever.
No longer lifetime. So this is lifetime. That's lifetime means lifetime. Like SEO going anywhere, we're not going anywhere. There's that. Do we address lead gen? And then somebody wants to know if you left the old company that is still teaching your stuff.
Oh yeah, a long time ago. Yeah, I'm only, this is the only place that I teach SEO right now, and it's the only place I've taught SEO for. I've been, and I know the company that you're talking about, and no aspersions on them at all. But when I was a part of that company and decided to leave, they decided, or we mutually decided, that it was in everybody's best interest for me to just kind of quietly leave and not make a big deal out of it. And we all agreed to that. So I have no issue at all with the other company. If you are still trying to use my training though from back then, that would have been like 2016 or 17 with the core stuff, and then as late as 2019. Please don't try to rank in 2021 with my training that's 5 years old or 6 years old or 7 years old. Please don't do it. It shouldn't be in there anymore. They should have removed it. I feel like it should have been removed a long, long time ago. But SEO just changes too quickly, guys. It just changes too quickly. That's one of the things you're going to see. You're going to see me put up a video and change it, a month later. Okay. Or 2 weeks later, because Google changed something. Okay. So I'll tell you again, only God knows how long I'm going to be here. But my intention with this is that, I'm going to have this for at least a decade. Okay. So if I had to put a number on it, I would say I should be doing this for at least 10 years is what my goal is. And I'm only saying 10 years because I'm just telling you, I'm being honest with you. I plan on selling this company once I built it up to a certain thing way down the road. Okay. But I'm talking about way down the road. And when and if that eventually occurs, the person that I'm going to hand the reins to is going to be someone that can replace me. I'm not just going to like sell it to some crappy company or something. Okay. So, let's say it's 6 years down the road and, I get an irresistible offer or something. I promise you that if that happens, either I will stay on just to teach, or I promise you, I will make sure that the person replacing me is as capable as I am or more capable. But, that's a question I get a lot too, to be honest with you, with AI and rank brain and all that stuff, oh, is SEO going to be around in 2 years, 3 years? Hell yes, it's going to be around. SEO is not going nowhere. Okay. It's not going anywhere. Okay. It's just not. There's no way. People have been saying this stuff literally since I started back in 2003. Okay. It doesn't matter how sophisticated Google gets. They can't afford collateral damage. So I'm not going to go off on a tangent here, but I will tell you this. I guarantee you SEO as a profession will be around for at least another decade or more. At least. People are always going to need leads. People are always going to need leads, right? So, maybe Google gets taken over by DuckDuckGo or something, right? Like, or Bing or something. If it does, we'll switch, we'll modify the training that way. By the way, we don't just cover Google. We talk about Apple Maps, we talk about Bing, we talk about, it's local SEO, it's not Google SEO. It's local SEO. So, we cover, lots of things outside of Google, just Google. There's lots of topics. Again, I can't even show you the sections because if I show you sections on a live webinar and someone sees a particular tool that I'm using or a particular technique or something, then people start, trying to reverse engineer my stuff. So, but I promise you, when you get inside the members area, you start seeing, and if you start doing what I've showed you, you're going to get the result. If you don't get the result, then you come to me and you say, hey, Steven, I've done a level 1 optimization and it's not working. And then I'm going to say, okay, how long has it been? And you say, it's been a month. And I'm going to say, okay, let me look at it. Go ahead and add me to analytics, add me to Search Console, add me to Google My Business, right? Or I may ask you to send me something out of a rank tracking tool or whatever, right? And we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Like I said, to use the Karate Kid example again, can you imagine Daniel-san if he didn't have Miyagi? Or could you imagine if Miyagi just made some videos, right? And they were really good videos, right? Um, Sorry, Daniel-san is still getting his butt kicked. Okay. And frankly, that's what's so great. And again, I hope this doesn't come across the wrong way, but do you have any idea what an overwhelming advantage it is for you that the vast majority of people that are your competitors don't know what you know? They are the people learning from the wrong people. Okay. That's who your competition is. That's why I can smash people, right? I'm talking about my competition. That's why, like, if I have a local plumber, okay, and I look at it and I see, right, I know I'm going to get them number one in everything. Okay. I know it, right? Because one of the main reasons is because the vast majority of my competition doesn't know what they're doing. If I showed you some of the training that some people that are some agencies get, you would, if you knew what you were doing, you'd cringe. Okay. And I know this because I do consulting for agencies as well. So I have seen, as recently as a few months ago, I have seen SOPs, and I'm talking about companies that charge big bucks, man. I'm talking about companies that charge 5, 10 times what I charge. I've seen some of their SOPs and I'm like, OMG, really? Like, this is insane. So, there has never been a better time to be an SEO than now. There's never been a better time, but again, you have to be in the right group. You have to have the right people. So was there any other?
Yep. Okay. So are we teaching lead gen?
Yeah. Lead gen.
Like and Kendrick, I have to ask this question. So when you say lead gen, are you talking like rank and rent? Are you talking?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
I mean, are you talking like lead gen for like affiliate stuff, or are you talking lead gen for your own business? That's kind of my hold on, we have an answer. Own business. Yes, we are teaching that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, the blueprint's already in there. I am going to have a section. It's going to have some fancy name, okay, and it's going to be sold separately. Okay, you're going to get it though if you do this offer, because y'all get everything. Okay, it's a crazy offer. You won't really understand how crazy it is until we're down the road a few months and you see like, oh crap, I get that, and I get that, and I get that, and I don't have to pay anything. I'm going to charge more for that than I'm charging you now just for that section, and you get it for free, or you get it included. But I'm going to have a complete course that exists by it itself on clients. Okay, how to set up, how to get clients, how to do proposals, how to close them, how to build, like everything you need to know. And then there's also going to be an agency section as well. And the agency section is going to be for people who want, who want to have like employees or want to have like a lot of VAs. Okay. I haven't done it personally because that's not what I want to do. I would go insane. But I have helped numerous agencies do that. Okay. And I've done that recently. So one of the things that I do is I get paid by companies to go in and help them do things like hire people, like, how do we grow? How do we, that kind of stuff. There's going to be a full course on that. Okay. And again, y'all get all of this, for free. All right. There's that.
Okay, so same checklist. Yeah, so we're having questions about, do we have a checklist to give to VAs?
Right this second, no, but it's in process. It's in process. Yeah, for sure. My goal, and there's going to be a VA section as well, by the way. It's going to be a whole section on how to do that. But my goal is eventually that, you are going to be able to just, when you hire someone, right, you have to do it. And like, I train my own people. Okay. So like people who want to work for me, and I won't make this a long answer, but people who work for me, I don't take people that have, like, I don't care about their previous experience. I prefer they don't have any, actually. I teach them my methods and then I test them. Okay. And then they can work for me. Okay. And I don't pay them to do that. So I will, and by the way, none of my VAs have the whole formula for everything. Okay. It's segmented. So I have VAs that do specific tasks. Okay. But my goal for this, for you guys, as far as the fulfillment part, okay, is that you literally could hand it over to someone and say, okay, here is your, we have a new client. Here is their intake form. Okay. Which I provide for you, by the way. I give you the form that your client needs to fill out so you can do their job, right? It's a virtual form. Obviously it's an online form. So it has like like their logo, you need their business description, you need their phone number, you need their, right, all their socials. I give you the form that your client fills out. Once they fill it out, you have everything that you need. My goal is that you then hand that over to someone else and they do the work. That's how my company works. So my company, primarily what I do is I close the deal. Okay. And I do QA, right? I make sure that, my people that actually do the work send me reports. I make sure that it's working, right? I monitor rankings and traffic and that kind of stuff, right? But I'll tell you, I spend an average of less than an hour per month per client. Okay. And that is realistic once you've got things going. I can't tell you how important processing, processizing, is that a word? Things is. In my previous life, when I used to do computer work and stuff, I was actually vice president of operations for a global company. And my job at that point was getting efficiencies, right? It was trying to figure out what are the tasks that we need to do to complete the job and how can we do that as efficiently as possible, right? Spending the least amount of time and money to deliver the service for the highest margin. Okay. And that's what I bring to the SEO game as well, right? Because I've been doing this again, almost 20 years. So I figured out the absolute most efficient ways to onboard a client. Okay. To send the monthly reports to the client, right? How to do the video proposals, right? And I'm not saying everything I do is the best that's possible to be done, but it works great, right? I'm always improving. Those alone are worth, I don't know how much money, tens of thousands of dollars, right? Again, doing the SEO part's the easy part. It's the easy part. If you know what you're doing.
I've got a couple more questions.
Sure.
All right, hold on. Now they're coming in. So I think one of the most important ones here is because obviously there are members from other course groups, whether it was Traffic Engines or Bulletproof or Search Evolve. I think they want to know what's going on with that. And then, oh man, all right, I really got to run to the bathroom, but I don't know. Does everybody know that the other courses are basically outdated now or what?
Yeah, I mean, that's the simple answer. The simple answer is if you have any of my previous training, I wouldn't use it. I would switch immediately to this. Yeah, if you had been in both, and I have some students, and if I knew this was going to come up, I would have brought on a couple of students that have transitioned, already from my most recent training, which is Traffic Engines, to the newest one. They would tell you it's a huge difference. It's huge. I mean, it's crazy. Okay. So, yeah, are you there still, or did you run to the bathroom? Why don't you run to the bathroom?
My kidneys are hurting right now,
Yeah.
but how it works. So we got do we teach how to verify GMBs in Australia?
That's a very specific question. I do not have clients in Australia currently. I will tell you though that, so if that's something that you've researched and you haven't figured out how to do, I'd be happy to help you do that. But I'll be honest with you, I would just simply go to probably the Google My Business product support group and ask that like straight up question. If that should be an FAQ, right? And if you're talking about like how to do like fake ones for not real locations, that's different. I don't teach that. I know how to do it, but I don't teach that now. I probably won't. What I need is, or what I focus on, is, ranking and maps for legitimate businesses, right? So I'm not talking about like what you mentioned earlier, like rank and rent, that kind of stuff. I will help you if I can on specific things like that. Okay. But again, I can't promise. Let me see here. Are there any other coaches other than Steven? If so, who? Yes, that's a great question. Max, run to the bathroom if you need to. I'll take the way home for a minute. We have 3 sections that are live right now. We have a local SEO, which is me, just me. But you have a lot of access to me, so don't worry about that. Again, feel free to ask some of my current students. If they feel like they don't get their questions answered, they do. Then there's the affiliate marketing section, which is by Jeff Linney. Jeff is one of the best, if not the best affiliate marketer that I've ever known. He's won numerous awards. And, if you don't know his name, you probably don't follow affiliate marketing. He's been called the king of affiliate marketing, like for, I don't know, 5-6 years now, at least. He's won every award that I know you can win, like ClickBank Platinum or whatever it is. And then we have Max, who is new publicly, but he's been doing this for a long time. And I hired, or not hired, but I brought Max on board based on the results that I saw him getting, not based on any kind of reputation. But I can tell you, the members in the group can vouch. He knows what he's doing. And I do too. I do YouTube as well. I just don't do it to the extent that Max does.
I'm pretty good.
Yeah, yes, you're pretty good. Some of you are here because of that, probably. So, how many students are with this portal? And that's another great question. Okay. There are less than 100 total students right now. And that number is not going to change significantly for probably 6 months to a year. Once it does, then if I need to bring on coaches or assistants, then I will. I don't think that I will, though. I can tell you that right now, again, I think that, I don't know the exact number, Max might, but I think we have around 70 members right now. Okay, paying members. I would tell you that right now on my weekly webinar, I usually get about 25 people. Okay. And so they're usually about an hour long, and I usually answer everybody's questions. But sometimes, there may be, complex questions, and sometimes I have one-on-one, like Zoom conferences with people, or sometimes I'll tell you something that's very common in our group. Very common for someone to post a video question. So, they use a service like Loom, right? Or something similar, and then they just post a video question, because sometimes it's so much easier. I mean, I know maybe I'm showing my age again, maybe I'm old, but like, I hate to text. It like drives me nuts. So like they'll, post a video question, and then I'll post a video answer, right? Because that's what I'm telling you, very rarely, is the answer like, hey, Stephen, here's my question, and it's yes or no or ABC. It's almost never like that. It's almost always, I need to ask clarifying questions before I can give you an answer that's meaningful. And that's why I'm saying, like, people who illegally download courses and stuff, you're going to lose, or at least with mine, you are. The actual videos are maybe 10% of the value of the whole course. Like if I gave you the videos, okay, and said, here, you can have the members area for free, I would be doing you a huge disservice, because having those videos and not having direct access to me, you won't win. I mean, you may get some wins, but it's just not worth it. But let me see. Let's see. Someone said, is Search Evolve still on? I'm not sure. So Search Evolve is the name of my client consulting business. That's what Search Evolve is. So Search Evolve is my actual business where people hire me to do SEO for them. So yes, it's still in operation, but it has nothing to do with training. Although I do use that site to show y'all how to do stuff sometimes. I've been doing this for so long, that I have a waiting list basically, right? Anytime I want a new client, I can just take on a new client. But I have a certain amount. Basically have a certain amount of work that I want to do and a certain amount of money I want to make. So I basically keep that balance. Okay. I'm not putting that limitation on you. If you want to grow and grow and grow, that's fine. I have students that have, 50, 60 clients. Okay. You totally can do that. All right. It's easy, actually. You just have to have the processes in place, right? There's a difference between servicing 3 clients and 10 clients or 20 clients or 30 clients, right? But if you know the processes, it's actually fairly simple. And when you're talking about the money, it's nuts. I mean, your average client is going to be, $2,000 to $3,000 a month on retainer. Okay. And you're going to spend maybe 10% of that in delivering the service, maybe 15% on the high end. Okay. So what I'm saying is, once you get things rolling, your average client is going to bring in, let's just say $2,000. Okay. Mine's higher than that, but let's just say $2,000 a month. And it's going to cost you maybe $200, $300 to service them. Okay. That's just money in your pocket, man. It's just cheddar. What else?
There's so many questions. I think a good one was actually, all right, hold on. I gotta scroll up a bunch. Do you have experience with ranking a financial advisor when they are going up against huge companies like Edward Jones? Can you outrank these big guys in maps?
That is another great question. So that is an example of what I like to call a one-off niche. Okay. So a one-off niche is going to be when the standard rules do not apply. And there's a couple of reasons why. So financial advisors have to follow, there's legal requirements for them that, let's say a plumber, right, or a roofer does not have to follow, okay, as far as content and all kinds of things, right? So It's going to be more challenging. Okay. But what we do in the one-off niches most of the time is we actually have a custom strategy. Okay. So you are going to do a lot of the same things as, for your regular plumber or doctor, but you're going to have to customize it for that specific niche. So, I'll tell you, for example, with financial advisors, a lot of times the way that you're going to win with them is absolutely not going up against like the huge companies, because you don't have the budget for that. You're going to target different keywords. Okay. So the keywords, so in other words, you're going to pick the battle that you can win. Okay. So, and I can tell you that by adding a local modifier to the keywords you're targeting, yes, you absolutely can kick the butt out of huge companies. Okay. I do it every day. I beat Yelp and Angie's List and whatever every day and twice on Sunday. It's easy actually, because here's the thing, the huge companies are typically ranking based on the overall authority and power of the entire website, right? So you mentioned Edward Jones, right? Huge company, right? Their website probably has thousands or tens of thousands of pages, okay? But here's one thing that's very important to remember. When you are ranking so you're talking about maps, right? So you're not going to be ranking in the whole United States, outranking Edward Jones. Okay. But you don't need to, right? If you're talking about maps, you're talking about a local area. So, you're talking about, so can you outrank trophy keywords in Frisco, Texas against Edward Jones with local modifiers? Absolutely. And twice on Sunday. And that's what people are looking for anyway. Right. So in other words, you're not going to rank them for global keywords, right? Like financial advisor. Okay. You're going to outrank the crap out of them. Okay. Sorry. I know this is a long answer, but I think it's a good one. And it's important. Every keyword that you're going for is like a war. Okay. It's like one little war. Okay. Now, Edward Jones is fighting a global war on a global scale, or a national war on a national scale, right? They're not competing against individual financial advisors in individual cities and markets. Okay. They're competing against the other companies that are on the scale of Edward Jones. So if you look at a map result, right, a map result is not going to have a global financial advisor keyword in it. Okay. It's going to have a locally modified one. So if you're asking, can you rank for financial advisor in Frisco, Texas, or financial advisor near me? Absolutely. Because here's the thing. Your entire website, your entire maps listing, your entire battle is only on the one front, right? You're fighting in that one city or that one like metro area, right? So it's super easy actually to beat, the big guys, right? So again, think of Yelp or Angie's List, right? So like if I, let's say I have a local plumber, okay, here, let me go back to this one real quick. So if I go to this, let me just go back real quick. See if I can do it fast. It might not let me. Well, hold on. Let me see if I can do this without messing up. I'm also on a proxy, so it changes things a little bit, guys. So that's why I can't do things live necessarily, but let me try this. Briscoe Financial Advisor. Okay, so as an example here, so see that not a national company, not a national company, not a national company. Okay, not a national company, not a national company, right? So like on this one, for example, if you were competing in this SERP, I mean, look, here's an article. You could totally take this, dude. You would own this niche. You would slaughter these people. I mean, I hope that the terminology I'm using is not unsettling to anybody. I just have a military background. So, that's how my mind thinks. But I think of SEO as a war. I think of it as a battle, and I'm going to win, right? So, yes, the answer to your question is you have to have a different strategy, okay, in place, but you absolutely can win niches like that. And yes, we absolutely talk about that. That kind of stuff in the training.
Okay. I think we got 3 more.
Okay.
Actually 4 more now. So
great.
Earl wants to know, will there be training to help a client rank nationally? And I can
not in the local SEO section, because it's local SEO. I will tell you though, I will be adding a section about that in the future, but I'm not going to give you a timeline on it because it's different. It's a very different. And let me tell you why. Not only is the strategy different, but you're talking about a completely different level of budget. Okay. So, if you want to rank nationally, let's just say for financial advisor terms, you're talking budgets in the six-figure range, right? So, I'll tell you this, if you have a legitimate prospect for something like that, then I would be happy to at least discuss that with you. Okay. I would be happy to at least, discuss, jump on a Zoom or something and talk with you about some things. But I can tell you that most of the time that stuff doesn't pan out. Okay. When you have some prospect and they're some little local company and, they have, dreams of, visions of grandeur, and they waste an SEO consultant's time. They have a $1,000 a month budget to take over a global keyword that has a, $10 million a month value. Right. So the direct answer is no, not right now. I don't, but down the road, sure. But now, if that's what you're trying to do, I'd be happy to help you with it. But again, first thing I would say is before I spent any time at all on something like that, I'd make sure that the client's real. Like I would actually charge a client just for like an evaluation. So if someone came to me right now and said, "Hey, Steven, I'd like to rank, my company globally or nationally for, I'm a financial advisor." I'll tell you the most recent time this happened. I had a lady that sold health insurance and she wanted to rank nationally. Okay. And so I told her that just to prepare a proposal for her was going to cost, I think, $2,000. Because just to do the research, to develop the strategy, to figure out what it would take and how long it would take to take over, get on page one for that niche is going to take me, 2 or 3 days. Right. So I'm not going to spend 2 or 3 days of my time and then come up with nothing. Cause like I said, most of the time that stuff doesn't pan out. But anyway, hopefully that answered your question.
AG, it's basically the same question about financial advisors, but let's say for luxury cars. I think that's pretty much this. I think we've answered that. Lester keeps asking the question about why does Google ask you to post photos in your GMB if you're already ranked in the maps pack?
Well, I mean, Google he's probably talking about the suggestions inside of GMB. That's just a standard like suggestion. One of the things that I have you do in the maps training, one of the like part of the 101, right? Part of the level 1 optimization is basically just filling out everything that Google allows you to fill out, right? So in other words, what Google wants from you, there's actually a help desk article about this where it tells you it wants like 3 to 5 photos in each of the primary sections, right? So there's like indoor, outdoor, or interior, exterior, employees, right? There's a couple different categories once you're inside of Google My Business. So like for instance, okay, so let me look here real quick. I was going to show y'all something in here, but it didn't come up. But so for example, so you see here, so you've got by owner, by customer, 360 video. So they want you to fill out at least 3, right? At least 3 of these, 3 of these, 3 of these. Okay. The reason why is actually because they know that they convert better. Okay. That images, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. They're prompting you to add images because images will help you convert better. Right. So it's actually a good suggestion. Okay. But we have a very specific strategy for optimizing images. And actually, I believe that I have the best image optimization strategy, period. I actually started a software company specifically to do a particular part of the optimization. So I am going to answer this because I don't want anybody to think that this is a BS, whatever they're called. Dave, this is a live seminar. And I'm answering it at 11:03 p.m. in Spain. So, I know that that's a big deal. A lot of people use automated webinars, and I'm not against automated webinars or anything, but this is absolutely live right now. And if it feels like it's not, I apologize for that. Probably means I'm being kind of boring. So sorry about that. But yes, this is live. I'm really here. And honestly, I would never do that to y'all. If I ever do automated webinars, which I probably will, I'll make sure y'all know. I'm definitely not going to do that to y'all. All right. So How we doing? Yeah, we're over 2 hours now. We should be.
Yeah, we're getting there. Okay. So yes, we are live. Okay. Okay, so somebody asked about the schedule. I think I answered that. So basically, Jeff does the affiliate SEO training, 7 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. I do YouTube SEO training Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Stephen, I know your schedule has been a little weird since you moved to Spain. I'm not exactly sure of your exact schedule, but there are weekly training schedules. Like basically, we do weekly live webinars every week to answer questions.
Yeah, mine, to try to help as many people as possible, mine actually rotate. So mine are either Wednesdays at 3 p.m., and that's for people who want to attend the training during business hours. And then my other one is 3 p.m. on Saturdays. And I do not work on weekends, but I am making this exception for this community because I want to help as many people as possible. So one week it'll be Wednesday, the next week it'll be Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. And that I may change those times. So nothing is set in stone. What's set in stone is that, except for exceptions like Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that, you can pretty much count on a webinar every week. Right. So how we doing? I think we need to wrap. We've been over 2 hours. So
we do.
Anything pressing?
There was one really good question. Does this cover organic section SEO strategies?
Yeah, absolutely. For local, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, that's one of those things. One of the biggest mistakes that I see people make. I didn't think it was the biggest. That's why I didn't answer it earlier, or why I didn't, say this in my presentation. But one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is separating local organic ranking from maps ranking. Those aren't two different things. They're one and the same. Okay. The thing, as a matter of fact, some of the most powerful strategies that I teach you for getting into maps have to do with optimizing your website. They have nothing to do with Google My Business. They have to do with actually optimizing your local landing pages to match your maps listing. So I do not teach organic SEO or maps SEO. I teach local SEO. So 100% of my strategies are designed to rank you in the local and in maps. The only reason that I separated it for this is because so many people think about it that way. They think about it as two different things. Okay. I don't, and you shouldn't either. You should think of them as one. Everything that we do to rank is to rank local and or maps. You should rank in both equally well. Matter of fact, if you have a huge difference, let's say that you're, number 3 organic and you're like number 20 maps, something's wrong. They should match. If you're doing things properly, they should match. So, if you're in the top 3 in maps, you should be in the top 3 organic. Okay. Or very close. Whenever, if you see something that's different, it means something's wrong. You could have a penalty, and you can have a maps penalty, right? You can have a penalty where you're in maps, but you're not ranking well. That's a thing. It's a real thing. And there's a way to diagnose it. And yes, we talk about that. And I can do that manually as well. So that would be something like, you're on one of our webinars and you're like, hey, I'm number 2 organic, but I'm number 30, maps. What's going on? Right. First thing I'm going to ask you is, what part of the level 1 optimization have you not done? Because you probably haven't. Right. I will tell you this. In the entire time I've been teaching SEO, I have never once had someone tell me that they did a complete level 1 and they actually did a complete level 1. Not once. Never. Not even once. They always have missed something. And that's why they're not ranking, right? All the things need to be done. They're not hard. They're not expensive. They're not time consuming, but all the things need to be done. If you think about it again, think about like, a recipe, right? Let's say you have a recipe for, tuna casserole or something. Okay. If you leave out one ingredient, it's not going to be right. Right. And if you leave out one of the main ingredients, it's really not going to be right. Right. Let's say you leave out, mac or, pasta noodles or whatever, right? Tuna casserole is going to be pretty, weird. But even if you just leave out the salt, right, it still may be edible, but it's not going to be the same. That's how local SEO is. If you do all the things right, then you get the result that you want 100% of the time. But if you, leave stuff out, or if you're, lazy or whatever, or again, if you don't have the right training, then, it can be impossible to rank.
All right. Okay. Michelle, I'm just going to recommend, like, from what I'm hearing from you, this is very specific questioning. Arthur wanted to know how much do you recommend you charge a local client?
I mean, I'll answer that, but then that's going to be the end. I know I'm putting people to sleep on the replay on this because we're well over 2 hours, guys. So last question. Okay. If you have more questions, ask them in the group, in the party group, and we'll answer them. The question is, how do I charge? There's not a straight answer for that. I charge, and I'm going to teach you to charge based on the value and the competition. Okay. So there's a process. So you can't just say, to rank you, it's going to cost blank dollars. You can, but it's incompetent. Okay. The proper way is you are going to do your research. Okay. You're going to do this prior to the proposal. And that's really the main point of the research. Okay. So you have a client, they fill out your discovery form, right? They tell you, what website they have, what keywords they're going for. Then you do your research. And again, I teach you how to do this step by step. Then based on the traffic value. Okay. So how much money is it going to be worth if they rank for these terms? Right. And we have tools that tell us these answers, right? Approximately how much, this is going to be worth to them. And then you also look at the competition. Okay. How hard is it going to be? So those are always the two variables for ranking, whether it's local or national. It's going to be time and budget. Okay. I always say that you can rank anybody for any term. Okay. But the variables are time and budget. All right. I will tell you that if you have clients, so our goal with SEO is to have retainer clients, meaning that they pay us a fixed amount forever because they're going to have value from it. Every month they pay us because they're getting value from what we do for them every month. And we're going to have monthly repetitive tasks to keep them ranking and keep those leads coming in. But you're also going to have people who, based on their location or based on their keywords, there's not enough value to justify a monthly retainer. So those are going to be, what I call, one-off clients, or single purchase clients, right? So in other words, we will charge them a set amount one time, right? And we're going to do a whole bunch of things. And then based on that, they should rank, for a while based off of that. Or, you can do that, let's say, once a quarter, right? So instead of say they're paying you $2,000 a month forever, you charge them $3,000, once, right? And that gets them ranking, right? And then 6 months later, you do $1,000 booster, right? Maybe 6 months later, you do another $1,000 booster, right? So again, it was a simple question that you asked, but the answer is really complex. And I know that I have seen people in other groups and other courses try to fit everybody inside of their model. And I'm just telling you, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. If the client doesn't get real value from what you're doing for them, if they don't get a return on investment, they're going to fire you. So you can't just say, hey, Mr. Client, I'm going to charge you this amount of money and I'm going to do these things, but I have no idea if those things, are going to lead to a value that is worth more than what you're paying me. Although some people teach that. In fact, multiple people teach that, but I'm telling you, those people don't do SEO for a living. Okay? The people that say that, they're gurus. They're not real. Guarantee you. That's not how it works. If my clients pay me $3,000 a month and they're not getting at least, $6,000 to $10,000 a month in value, they're going to fire me. They're going to fire me.
I think that's
because, because otherwise you could just do pay-per-click. Okay. And we talk about pay-per-click as well. There's a time and a place for pay-per-click. Pay-per-click is not evil. I don't hate Google. They lie to us and all the stuff I said in the beginning. But there's a time and a place for paid traffic. But hopefully, so again, the answer is, it's not one size fits all. You have to customize a quote to the prospect.
Pretty much.
So hopefully that makes sense.
Okay. What's great is we still had oh man, there's a lot of people that are still here. We really appreciate all of you hanging out for the full 2.5 hours of this.
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that being said, we're going to go ahead and close up. So if you're watching this on the replay, again, right now it's Saturday, October 23rd, where I'm at. And this offer closes on the 24th at midnight. Okay. If you are a former student of mine, okay, and you missed this offer, feel free to send me an email and I'll, depending on how many people have signed up, may or may not have an option for you. I probably won't, to be honest with you. I only want to take on a certain amount of students at a time because we need to onboard you and, when we get a new group of people, it takes a couple of weeks to get those people, processed in, right? You're going to have a bunch of questions, right? And then the people that asked about, like PayPal or whatever, again, just send me an email, seofloyd@gmail.com, and just ask about it. And we can do that. I'll just send you an invoice or whatever. So that's perfectly fine. But otherwise, that's it. So if you're watching this live, I hope that you've joined, or I hope you're considering joining. I promise you that if you do, I will do everything that I can to, make sure that you have all the support that you need to win at this. I can tell you that, if you are just an average person with average resources and are willing to work average, you're going to have really good results with this. You don't have to be a genius, or, you don't have to have a ton of, money or resources to get started with this. Most people start off with doing a free job for like a family member or a friend, and then they use that as a case study to get their first little client, and they start part-time. That's what most people do. So, if you have a full-time job, that's great. That's great. A lot of people have started with full-time jobs. They did this, on the weekends a little bit, and then within a couple of months, they've got enough clients they can quit that job. Right? It's very, 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 very realistic. Very, very doable. Okay. Don't let that hinder you. If it takes a little bit more time, it's fine. No big deal. You start off with a $500 a month client. Get 5 of those, and guess what? Right now you're at 2,500. Right? You can replace an income of 6 figures typically within 3 to 6 months. Okay. I'm just saying that's very realistic. So that's it. So thank you again, as Max said, everyone that attended live. We appreciate you. We're glad that you're here. If you're watching this on the replay and you have questions that were not asked, please go to the Facebook group that I mentioned before at the beginning. It's the Search Marketing Institute Before Party. So it's in Facebook groups, it's SMI B4 Party. And join here. You can get yourself some free training, and then we will be happy to answer whatever questions that you have. All right. Whatever that you have. And that is it. So Max, as usual, thanks for being my co-pilot.
Oh, my pleasure.
I appreciate you. Remember, there is a limited number of seats.
This is a good one because we had about 20 something people join already. Just while we're doing this live.
Right.
Eve wants to know, is there a kickoff webinar? Like for people joining?
Yes, there absolutely is a kickoff webinar, and it's going to be, so you're going to be able to get, regardless of when you buy, you're going to be able to log in. I think Monday night is what or actually you should be able to log in immediately, but there's going to be a content gap till we do the onboarding. I'm probably going to do that on Monday night or Tuesday night. So it's going to be pretty fast. Not that you can't log in and start doing the training, but I'm saying, yes, there will be an official welcome, and we're going to go over how to access resources and all that kind of stuff. So I call it housekeeping. So let's just say that should be Monday night. Okay. So unless I'm stupid and there's something that I have an appointment or something on Monday night that I don't know about, it'll be Monday night. So we're closing the shopping cart, no false scarcity, Sunday night at midnight. Okay. And then Monday night or Monday afternoon, sometime on Monday, we'll have the onboarding. Okay. And that's it. So again, everybody that's joined, thank you so much. We're glad that you're here. Be sure to follow the link to join the Facebook group. And again, if you're watching us on the replay, I hope that you didn't wait too long. Hope that we still have slots. We will be opening again in about 3 weeks. Again, that's going to be it's going to be basically double the price for less stuff. So still going to be super valuable. But if you have an opportunity to get this one.
Get it now.
Definitely get it now. Yeah. So anyway, thank you, my friend. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Y'all have a great night, and I'll see you all in the groups.
All right. All right.
Thanks.